everybody. Thank you for joining me. We are doing something really special this time. I'm going to share my top 50 board games, and I invited my very favorite person in the whole wide world, Lewis, to join me so that we can hear his top 50 as well. So in this first video, you're just going to get 50 to 41. So that kind of bottom tier of our top 50, still really great games. I don't know if Lewis had a hard time, but I had a hard time capping it at the 50.
I did have a hard time. I came up with over 150 games that were my favorites, and so I have a lot of runners-ups, but we're not going to get into those.
Yeah, no, I know, and even some new games. I know that people are really excited. We've been playing things like Paleo and Cloud Age and Sleeping Gods, and so it's like those are really tough to fit into where do I feel about all of these games. And so since I've played them so recently, and some of them are actually still in the process of being played, they didn't make my top 50, but I don't know about Lewis's. I know, right? So we don't know each other's lists at all. Like, I know what we've known each other for, what, 40 years now? 40 years. And it's, I mean, like, I know what you like, but I don't know what his list is. So I'm really excited to hear these. Kim
has been very insistent that we not share our list, that they're secrets, to the point that we have our list folded over so the other person can't see them. So this will be a surprise for everyone involved.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get started with number 50. Lewis, why don't you start us off?
My number 50 is a game called Crown of Amara. And we played this a couple years ago at a convention, and then I had such a great time with it. We bought it and have played it a few times here. This game has 2 rondels that you have, you're moving around, and one gives you resources and one lets you do actions, and on your turn you have to choose which one to use, and I really like that mechanism. I think it's super fun. I don't think I've ever even gotten close to winning, but I have a good time every time I play.
I thought you were going to say I've never seen anything quite like that in any other game, because I don't think I have.
Well, we like rondels in general.
Yes.
A lot of my favorite games tend to have a rondel, but yeah, double like that is really unique. And the restrictions and the cards you play to go to the locations is really unique. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I think that's a great number 50. That's a great way to start.
Okay, what's your number 50?
So my 50 is Dune Imperium.
Yes.
I really like this game. It just barely squeaked in. It is newer. If you see my previous video, I enjoyed it immensely, but I don't have a close emotional connection to it.
To the lore?
Yeah, to the lore. I think Lewis does.
I do. I really like the lore of Dune.
I think it's just a really clever, smart, interactive, tight game. Like, it is intense. There's so many great moving pieces that fit together so well. You've got deck building, you have worker placement, and then there's this really cool, clever conflict at the end of each round. Super cool. It's a race to get to the top victory point, and you go over the threshold, and then you find out who wins. So that triggers the end. It's really cool.
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
It's a good pick.
All right. 49.
49 for me. Gotta check. Well, 49 is a game that I know Kimberly likes and will probably show up later. I mean, if we're making bets and stuff later on her, but for me, it's Obsession. I really enjoy Obsession. I, again, cannot win this game, mostly because I'm playing against Kimberly and she puts on her special hat and just beats me. But I love the process. There's a lot going on, but it's very clearly laid out so that you, when you take your turn, it's not super confusing. You pick a place to go, you send the people there, you get the rewards, maybe buy a location, and you're done. So it's really well put together, but the theme works. You really feel like you're playing Downton Abbey, the board game, which I think is a lot of fun. And boy, it's just fun to play. It is a longer game, so you can't just sit down for 10 minutes, but it pays. I feel like it's the length that it should be, which not every long game feels that way, but Obsession works for me.
Yeah, it's a very satisfying game. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
You get done playing and you just had this wonderful adventure. And
Right.
Lewis might be right about his prediction. We'll see. We'll see, right?
Okay, so yeah, next is your 49.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, mine is one of a designer that might appear with other games of his later. So my 49 is Glass Road. I think Glass Road
like Glass
is
Road.
super, super smart. I like how you have a meter and the amount of resources you have is on a dial, and you just move the resources from the 0 all the way around to, what is it, like 7 or 8 or 9 or something, and you have that many number of resources, and then you have to use them, but then you also have to move your meter, and it depletes your resources. And so there are 2, and it's
2 dials.
just so... It's this resource management in a way that almost breaks my brain, but I love it. I love it so much. Yeah.
I really like that game too.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's on my list coming up, but it might be. We'll see. Let's see. It's an Uwe Rosenberg game, and
It
he's
is.
really fun to to work with.
I enjoy his games.
Excellent. My number 48 is Azul. And I'm kind of counting all 3 Azuls here because I feel like I'm up to playing any of them at any given time. We just played the original Azul just the other day and had a good time. But if we had been playing one of the sequels, I mean, they're basically the same thing. And as long as I'm playing Azul, I'm having a good time. Again, this is a game that I generally don't win. I like to get as many tiles as I can sometimes, and I'll make choices like, ooh, if I can get 5 of those right now, even though I need 2 of those, and I'll make bad choices like that because I sometimes forget the goal of the game and I just get really excited about the tiles.
Yeah.
But overall, just a fun game whether I'm winning or losing, and smart. For an abstract game, great.
It's perfectly timed as well. It never lasts longer than you want it to, particularly the original. I think the original is the shortest and the cleanest, and that's the one we played. It did break me a little bit when I had to make my own decisions, and I didn't play on the patterned side that tells you, don't go here, dummy, because that will break your rows and your columns. And so that was a really big challenge for me, and normally I'm super adept at Azul. But it was a fun challenge.
Not having the pattern side kind of balanced the game. Okay, so Kim, what's your 48?
So my 48 is a game that I was reminded of recently, and when I started getting into it and thinking about it, and I just was like, this is a game I have to play again. It's super smart. It's Royals. Royals is an area control game, and wow, it is back and forth. It is a really hearty player interactive game where you are collecting cards and then playing a certain number of the same kind of card to gather control in a region that gives you ownership of these tiles that then at the end of the round, if you still have them, give you a requisite victory points. It's just like really cool.
Royals is great, and it's so underrated. It's one of those games that nobody seems to talk about when they bring up favorites, but I really like Royals too.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Good theme and really, really great gameplay.
Nice. All right, my number 47 is a little card game called San Juan. This is a game that goes up to 4 players, but Kimberly and I like to play it 2-player, and we had a couple years there where we played San Juan all the time.
All day.
We would just say, hey, we have 10 minutes, let's play San Juan.
We could do San Juan in 10 minutes.
And we had a great time. It uses the mechanism that you'll find. It's kind of a card version of Puerto Rico. If you've played like Race for the Galaxy, it has that kind of idea where one person picks an action and gets a bonus, but the other person also gets to do that action. And so timing things out just right can really make or break the game. A lot of fun.
And when you have a card, you can either use it as a resource, which is the amount of cards you have to pay to build another card, or you can use it as the card itself. And so you're always saying, well, I need to build this 3, and I have to pay 2 cards because I get the bonus of building for 1 less. But do I get rid of this one or this one because I might want to build this one or this one later? And then so you're always making really, really great choices.
The double use of the card, either as money or as the card itself, smart way to tighten up a game.
Yeah, really
Great
cool.
game.
I think it's a great 2-player game.
All right.
Even though it's not a 2-player game.
So what are we on? 47. What's your 47?
My 47 is Pella Ponies. That's not how you say it.
Wow. Yeah, I know the game.
Pella. I call it My Pella Ponies, like My Pretty Ponies, and that's not how you do it, but that's the song I sing when I think of this game. This has a bidding element to it that I find fascinating, where players are trying to bid for a collection of things that they want, and someone else can outbid them. Or if you get the I have half more than you can bid the same number and you get like the half bonus on your bid, which means that you're actually outdoing somebody for the same price. It's a really, really great game. Again, I don't think many people are talking about it. It is an older game.
Yeah.
But it's just a really solid game. I think the theme is super too.
I like that game a lot. Every time I play it, I feel like there's no way this game's going to work. It feels broken while you're playing it. You're like, this can't be right. But then you get to the end and you're like, that was a really good game. So, I don't know. It's a weird game. I like it too. I get it.
Yeah, it's super. It has the building, different types. On one side you have your buildings, the other side you have your like fields and resources. It's just really cool.
Right, and it's a cool game.
It's a cool game. Yeah.
My number 46, let me cross this out, don't look.
I looked.
Did you see it?
I saw that one. I didn't see anything else.
My number 46 is, to me, the best and only way to play Love Letter. I know there are a number of versions of Love Letter out there, and there's just basic Love Letter, and they're all fine. They're all really good games. But Batman Love Letter, to me, is the perfect love letter. And it's specifically because you're trying to get to 7 points, and in Love Letter normally you only get a point when you've eliminated everyone else. But in Batman Love Letter, if I specifically knock somebody out, I get a point. And so it makes the game actually move a little quicker.
Yeah.
The thing that I always got frustrated with Love Letter is I knock out one person, I knock out the next person, and then they knock me out and get all the point. And
it rewards the in-play round.
And so I adore Love Letter Batman. We play it with 2 of our friends, and it's kind of like the San Juan. We're just like bam, bam, bam. We just play it in a few minutes. And I'm not even sure we play it 100% correctly all the time. We have kind of our own house version that
where you can guess Robin
and knock. We like to say you can guess Robin and knock him out, which isn't.
It's not true.
Actually legal.
You can't do that.
But we love it. We have so much fun with Love Letter Batman.
And Batman Love Letter, absolutely, hands down, super game. It's fun. It's great. I mean, we know it.
Yeah.
And we also have created almost metagaming with our friends, because I have a move that I like to make, which is bluffing when I play down Harley Quinn. Anyway, it's fun. It's really great. I like it too. It's a great pick.
What she means is when she plays Harley Quinn, normally that means you have the Joker or
Two-Face.
Or Two-Face or even Poison Ivy. But when she plays Harley Quinn, she has Catwoman.
Something crazy.
Yeah, we figured that out.
So then everyone goes around the table guessing all the likely suspects, except for sometimes someone will be like, I think Kim is full of crap. Yeah. And then they figure it out. But yes, all right. I like it. So my 46.
46.
My 46 is Azul.
Hey!
That is a stained glass of Sintra.
Fair enough.
So I do like the original, and I agree with everything earlier that Lewis said about the game in general, all 3 iterations of it, but I like Stained Glass of Sintra. I think the Azul, for me, it's so surprising to have an abstract game on my list. These games have really captured me. I don't know what it is, but there's something wonderful about the choices you make, looking at what everyone else is doing, trying to maximize your situation, particularly in Sintra with your columns, and then getting those victory points as those stained glass drop down into placement. I think it's just a great strategic game, and I think that's probably why it totally works for me.
That version uses a little more brain power. It's a great version.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Good choice. Good choice. All right. Number 45 for me is Splendor. Now, I know a lot of people will say Splendor is too basic or too abstract. When Splendor very first was released, we were working for Asmodee as
demo staff
at Origins convention, and I was in charge of Splendor. I must have played it 100 times and demoed it with people and showed them how to play, or maybe sat down and played it with them. And honestly, I never really got tired of it. It's such a simplistic mechanism where you buy a card and now that card makes it easier to buy more expensive cards. And it's one of those games that I can just pump out in 20 minutes and have a good time. It doesn't overstay its welcome for me. I don't always win, so it's not a system where, you know, just because you know what you're doing, you're guaranteed to win. And I don't care, you know, like if I do my best and I lose, that's fine, because I have a good time playing it for the 20 minutes.
Yeah, Splendor's a solid game. It's just really well made as a design. It's actually quite elegant when you think about it. You have your temporary resources, but then you have the permanent resources with the cards, and you're building up this engine. And it is true. I'm surprised every time when someone turns it on and starts getting the big points. It is like 2-3 rounds, the game is over. So you have to be really careful and watch your opponents to see when they're turning it on, or hopefully you're racing and turning it on before them. But yeah, you never know who's going to win that game, and a first-time player can beat a long-time Splendor player, and I like that.
They can't. They usually won't.
They can.
But they can. And you're right. There is something about recognizing the rhythms of the game and knowing when it's time to start getting points and not just helpful cards. But I have fun with it.
Absolutely.
All right. What's your number 45?
My number 45 is a party game that I don't get to play that often. Time's Up. Time's Up is a perfect game, in my opinion.
Which is why it's 45 on her list.
It's still a party game. It's a word game. I don't get to play it as much anymore. We used to play it a lot. I love it.
Right.
So I love that there are 3 phases, and I love that each phase builds on the previous phase, and you are required to create clues that aren't just verbal. They are sounds and noises. They are hums. They are facial expressions, and then body expressions. I mean, I love doing the full body everything. That to me is like that. It really hits the performer in me. I go crazy, and when I play with strangers, they can't handle me. So I have to play with my friends. I mean, I get really competitive with my Time's Up.
And when Kimberly plays Time's Up and we're partners and we're just firing on all cylinders, and I'll give her one word and she'll have the answer. We'll be like, bam, bam. And we'll get 7 or 8 points in 30 seconds. Well, you hear it across the block. She has a great time. No, Time's Up's fantastic. Okay, my number 44 is a surprise to me. I would not have included this on the list even 2 months ago. But Kimberly was putting together a list of her top 5 racing games. We pulled Winner's Circle off of and I had so much fun. We played Winner's Circle like 3 times to kind of remind us of the game. And every time I go, I'm having so much fun with this game. And so, Winner's Circle. It's an old racing game, horse racing game. The mechanisms are pretty straightforward. It feels like a race.
Yeah.
You cheer. You'll roll the die and move a horse and you'll be like, yay! And it's just a fun game. I have a great time with it. So it's a surprise entry for me, Winner's Circle. Yeah.
You have horses, and they have a range of how far they can go based on the die. And so you can really bet big on like those, I'm gonna go 14 spaces or 11 spaces, but it's gonna be pretty rare, and your opponents are gonna obviously be working against you. Or you can just like play it safe and go with like that kind of trotting horse.
Right, because there's betting, so you can bet on a horse that's more consistent, or bet on a horse that has a real range.
It's fun. It's super fun. And I love horse racing games. So
you do. Okay, what's your number 44?
My number 44 is Battle Line.
Ooh,
Battle
so
Line is, a 2-player game that we played early on in our relationship, and to me, it has not a push and pull. To me, that game is about strategically placing your collections of cards in areas, because there's 2 ways to win. You can either get 3 in a row, and you have the best hand of like poker hand on one side versus your opponent placing cards down, or you can win any of the, 4 or 5? 5 anywhere of the line. And so you've got this battle line, you're playing cards down, but you only have so few cards in your hand, and you have to play before you draw. Oh, and it's just like we had and still do. We can say, let's play Battle Line 10 minutes later. It's like San Juan to me, Battle Line is, you know?
It's also known as Shot and Totten, although I think we've always played it as Battle Line.
Yeah. And we don't play with the events.
We don't play with the events because we feel like that gives too much swing.
One time we played, like, I think the first time, he got all the events. And I was like, this is crap. Like, how am I supposed to, like, compete against you if the balance is off?
Yeah, it does create a kind of a random swing to things.
But I think Battle Line is
great
2-player game.
Now, for 43... I picked a specific kind of escape room game box. There are a number of really good ones out there, but I think the one that really is my favorite is the Unlock series. So the Unlock series is a deck of cards, and you'll turn over certain cards, and then you'll look, and they'll have things hidden in them, and if you can spot certain things, you can then get extra cards and solve puzzles which will reveal new cards, and you're trying to escape from you're unlocking all these doors and stuff. What I love about Unlock is the puzzles tend to be really smart and they work. Some, I don't know how many there are, maybe 15 or 20 different decks out there. Some are better than others, but when you finish a deck, you can gift it to someone. You can say, hey, we finished this deck, here you go. You can only play it once, but they're relatively cheap. I think they're under $20.
Yeah, I like Unlock. That's a good pick. And not necessarily a specific one, but I like the idea of looking at all the different lines of these kinds of, escape room, at home, do it yourself. And the fact that you don't eat up the product itself, but is still really engaging and fun and, puzzly. My 43 pick is Deception, Murder in Hong Kong. This game is a figure me out with secret roles. And I think no matter what role I get, no matter how everything works, it is fun, it's table talk, and the games are fast. They really are. So you have someone who's playing the role of the forensic scientist, and they're giving clues on all these different boards to help everyone at the table figure out who the murderer is and what weapon they used and the motive or the clue that's left there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And everyone has these pictures. There's 4 of each type, so 4 weapons and then 4 clues. And then everyone just sits there and says, I think it's you. You look really suspicious. You got cocaine and a scooter, And then you just have like fights with each other, conversations, right? We're all just like trying to figure it out. But one person, there's the murderer. It's so fun. It's so fun because, of course, with secret identities, they get weird. You see your friends act super strange.
Right.
I love it.
I also love Deception, Murder in Hong Kong, so much so that it's my number 42. Oh.
It is?
Yeah, yours was 43, mine's 42, so I guess we're scooting on.
I
don't have much to add other than I also adore this game. Some of the best laughs I've ever had have been playing this game.
That's so great. So about the same spot. We almost had a crossover.
Very close.
Almost. Well, let me tell you my 42 pick.
Okay.
Tinner's Trail. I like Tinner's Trail. It's so perfectly thematic. Like if you think about gameplay and theme, I don't know if there's a more perfect meld. No, don't laugh at me. He laughs at me when I love things. But what you're doing is you're trying to mine while these shafts are filling with water and making it harder to mine. Yeah. And it's just so cool. And I don't know, I just always feel like I'm drowning. Like I'm just like, ooh, the water's like up here, and I'm like, oh, I gotta get that thing. I always feel so much excitement and pressure, and it's a great game. And I love Martin Wallace, but I think it's just a really great game of his.
For sure, one of his top games.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my opinion as well. Okay, so for my number 41, that's the last one on this list.
Yes.
Clank. I am a big fan of Clank. There's Clank, Clank in Space, and Clank Legacy, and I think they're all basically the same great game. I will say that at the end of the day, Clank Legacy was probably the most fun because we really just got to have this big experience, and each time you play, you'd add stickers to the board and so forth. I'm putting the system down as my number 41 because honestly, if you said, let's play Clank in Space or let's play Clank with this expansion, I would be on board. Basically, this is a game where you go into a dungeon or go into a space, you collect a bunch of treasure, and then you try to get out before the monster, the dragon or whatever, wakes up. And it's a bit of a push your luck, and it's always fun.
Definitely a press your luck. But I like that you have to draw cards, and you only get to play with what cards you have, which is your deck building mechanism in Clank. I like Clank a lot too.
Clank's great.
You might see Clank later.
Oh no!
I do. I like it.
What's your 41?
Oh, my 41 is For Sale. I love For Sale. I will always play For Sale, and I like that it goes 3 to 6 players. Now, I think it is kind of great with all amounts of players, though. Like, I don't mind playing with 3, I don't mind playing with 6. There are 2 phases to the game, and in the first phase, you're building up the resources, like the properties. You're all bidding for properties with the same amount of money chips you get in the beginning, and whoever gets it has to pay all of it, but players can drop out before it gets to the final player, and they get their property for free. You
get half your bid back.
But if I pay 1, then I get it for free because I get it back rounded up. And then all of these checks are going to be shuffled up, and the game will function the same way as the first round, but now you're playing cards out to collect the biggest check. You're selling your properties. It's so fun and interactive, and there's nothing better than sticking somebody with, you know, like a stinky 0 check when they played a really good card.
That can be fun.
In the game, in the first round, if you get really, really high cards, that does not mean you are going to win the really, really high checks. And I like that. I like that it's not determined in the first round whatsoever.
Excellent game.
You like For Sale? Would you play For Sale?
Of course.
Yeah.
It might even be later on my list. There's no way to know. There's just no way to know.
We will find out more about our picks in our coming episodes. So definitely stay tuned for our next grouping. We'll do 40 to 31. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time. Top 50!